Hello everyone. Before we start today's video, if you could all do me a solid and lightly tap the like button, perhaps share the video about and leave a comment. If you are not subscribed, subscribe as well. It would greatly help this channel. Thank you very much. Well, isn't this just fantastic? Captain's Log, Subdates 221227.8. I have been informed reliably that in the new year we'll need to head to a classified location to conduct some vital reconnaissance for Subfleet. To be honest, that's boring, so I'm just going to blow some shit up with a bounce. Hello everyone, welcome to the exhibition of stupid people. Today we're going to start with an image shared by Vicky Vibes on Twitter. I'll get to her tweet and some replies after I've shown you the image. This is the image. Because this is taken from the Mail Online and I don't want you to just think I get sources from the Daily Mail, we're going to go to the Mirror instead. Yes. Because it turns out this is not a joke. I thought it was. A Poe in the making. But no, there is another person identifying as plus-sized who was unable to get on a flight because of the issues surrounding them being plus-sized. Juliana Nemi, a 38-year-old influencer, has accused an airline of denying her the right to fly because she is too fat. Kinda like too cool, but it's just 3 rikishis. Now this plus-size model has said that Qatar Airways discriminated against her due to her size in a social media video. She claims a staffer told her she would need to buy a first-class seat, which was significantly more expensive if she wanted to board the flight home. The airline reportedly claimed that she was also barred from flying because of one of the relatives didn't produce a required COVID-19 test. A spokesperson for the airline said the passenger in question at Beirut Airport was extremely rude and aggressive to check-in staff when one of her traveling party did not produce required PCR documentation for re-entry to Brazil. As a result, the airport security had to intervene as staff and passengers were extremely concerned with her behavior. Juliana has claimed that there have been no issues while boarding connecting flights when her family had been to other places on holiday, and that for the economy seats that she had already bought, she spent over $4,000 US, 3,310 UK pounds, or real money. This included her personal $947 ticket. Qatar Airways, according to Juliana, did not offer to refund her money that she had paid for her ticket. Qatar Airways have actually elaborated on their policy regarding larger passengers, stating anyone who impedes upon the space of a fellow traveller and cannot secure their seatbelt or lower their armrests may be required to purchase an additional seat, both as a safety precaution and for the comfort and safety of all passengers. This is in line with industry practice. So whereas I have covered people in the past who've complained about being too big for their seats or not being accommodated for, because apparently you do need to be accommodated for the price of one, even if you do take up 2 seats. Turns out, airline policy with many places is, you're fat, get an extra ticket. Qatar Airways was named the world's best airline at the 2022 Skytrax World Airline Awards. It's numero uno for a reason. Service, quality. Do I need to continue? If you're too big, you need to buy extra seats. They would have suggested first class, no doubt because they didn't have another economy seat for you to take up that was next to each other. And the safety of everyone on that flight is paramount. It really is. Vicky Vibes tweeted, "What do you all think about this? Personally, even when I was at my heaviest, I always paid more for my ticket to accommodate my size. It is not fair to sit there, spilling over into someone else's seat. Frankly, it's for everyone's safety." Replies underneath when I archived it. I feel there could have been an argument that it was for safety purposes. If you can't properly fit in your seat and they allowed you to fly, wouldn't that be a liability to the airline? It's a grey area. 100% it is a liability to the airline. And if you do not fit in your seat, you should pay extra. I do not owe you part of my seat because you don't fit in. I paid for my seat and I want all of it. I'd recommend reducing your caloric intake to a more reasonable amount and perhaps, well, doing something that doesn't look like you just do squats. Alright? It's not good for your hips, okay? And I don't care if you're an influencer. I don't care if you're a model. It doesn't matter to me in the slightest. You're too big for the seat you paid for. Perhaps consider buying either a bigger seat with an airline that accommodates for it, or pay what you were told to pay to get in first class instead, where the seats apparently can accommodate for your frame. Okay. So next we go to something I saw via Count Dibula, and I'm going to preface it with the following. I love some good old-fashioned hypocrisy. I've called out Just Stop Oil for this many times, because many of their members come from wealthy backgrounds or are backed by very wealthy people, yet they claim to stand up for the planet, when really, they just stand up for making themselves look and feel better. They are hypocrites, because they drive to events while claiming about not wanting to use gas or oil. But then they say, oh, we don't mean actually use what we've got, we mean new oil and gas. We shouldn't punish people because they're trying. It's a climate emergency, everyone. Surely you wouldn't want to be seen driving a car that isn't electric-y. For this, we're going to go to Antifa. Now, I could only find 2 articles on this. One was the Daily Mail, the other is the Toronto Sun. Arrested. Antifa, that word, is son of millionaire Maine surgeon. Grew up in a gigantic $2 million mansion and sailed on parents' stunning yacht. Now, where the hypocrisy is here is that many people who are anti-fascist also claim to be more communist socialist. But as you can see here, this guy grew up with absolute privilege. The very privilege many who support Antifa claim to stand against. Hell, before he joined Antifa, he was an honor roll student in middle and high school before becoming radicalized. In the title next to Antifa, there was a word I didn't read aloud. There's a reason for that. YouTube gets sensitive to it. So perhaps some context would be advisable to explain why that word is there for him, or associated with him. Francis Carroll was one of 5 people arrested on Tuesday at an autonomous zone at a site of the future Atlanta Public Safety Training Center. Since June of 2021, members of Antifa have traveled to the location to prevent what they call a cop city, with Francis Carroll himself traveling more than 1,300 miles to get to this zone. Law enforcement officers were assaulted with rocks and bottles by these militants that were occupying makeshift tree houses, who were also terrorizing nearby residents. Shortly before his arrest, Francis Carroll took the liberty of wiping his social media accounts. When he was arrested, he was charged with criminal trespass, domestic terrorism, aggravated assault, felony obstruction, interference with government property, and possession of tools for the commission of a crime. Here's a picture of these peaceful militants, by the way. They look like the Goonies in balaclavas. In the case of Francis Carroll, he actually had everything. He genuinely did. He enrolled at the University of Maine, which costs over $27,000 a year, no doubt funded by his father, who is a very successful surgeon. But as is often the case when you grow up with everything, surrounded by all the good, the child just has to be a contrarian, either to get daddy's attention more, or because they think their parents have got it wrong. It is speculated, obviously is, that he was corrupted while at the University of Maine. Why does this not surprise anyone? Dibula had tweeted, yes, it's called typical. And he's right. My point about Just Stop Oil hypocrisy is applicable here as well. It is gauche. It is unoriginal. It is cliche. It's a trope. You will be hard-pressed to find anyone that actually stands for something that doesn't themselves have a leg to stand on, especially when, in the case of Francis Carroll, they had it all. They really do. Did. Have. Had? Who knows? It's amusing. If anything happens with this with regards to his future, I'll let you know. So next, smoking. I'm not a fan of it, never have been, but if you keep it away from me, we're fine. If it gets blown in my face, I'm going to send something back. It's called a receipt. You're not going to like it, it's going to hurt. Many countries are seeking to find a way to ban it, or reduce the prevalence of it, since more science has uncovered the dangers that smoking places on the user, but also those around them. Secondhand smoke does harm others. In New Zealand, they recently passed a bill. Now this is interesting on the face of it, but I am slightly concerned for it. Then again, New Zealand are quite well known at this point for introducing restrictions to human rights. Not that the United Kingdom is any better, just to be clear, we made sure to ban everything long ago. New Zealand passed a historic anti-smoking bill in Parliament, which bans the sale of tobacco to anyone born on or after January the 1st, 2009. The aim is preventing future generations from taking up smoking, and it is part of a government-wider push to make the country smoke-free by 2025. That is never going to happen. But there are some other issues we'll get to soon. The new law also slashes the number of retailers licensed to sell tobacco from 6,000 to 600. This sounds like something I've heard before, where some countries there are strict places, and they're very strict, even more strict than they ordinarily are, that can sell certain types of goods. Take for example alcohol. Regardless of your age, you will always have to show ID in certain countries, I think Finland is one of them, to acquire it. And it's only from one retailer. I don't know if that's Finland. It could be another country, I can't remember anymore. The point is, reducing it is only going to cause people to queue up more. Violations of this new law are punishable up to 150,000 New Zealand Hobbit dollars. The Associate Health Minister said that thousands of people will live longer, healthier lives, and the health system will be $5 billion better off from not needing to treat illnesses caused by smoking, such as numerous types of cancer, heart attacks, strokes, amputations. Smoking rates in New Zealand, which are already among the world's lowest, have fallen anyway, from 9.4% to 8% in the past 12 months. Which is fantastic news, of course it is. And I want people to live longer, so when no lives matter, I really get you. It's interesting really to see this, because there was a video doing its rounds as well, and I'm going to play that anyway.
We cannot hide away from human population growth, because, you know, it underlies so many of the other problems. All these things we talk about wouldn't be a problem if there was the size of population that there was 500 years ago.
Now on to the issue. You can have one of the lowest smoking rate per population thingies, it doesn't matter. Once you make something illegal, it is invariably going to become the cool thing to do. People are going to find ways to smuggle it in. It's going to create a black market. It always does. Think about the war on drugs. You're never going to win this, no matter how hard you try. You managed 1% in 12 months, yet you've got 3 years left. 2 really if you want to start at 2025, but 3 if you want to end on 2025 to make your country smoke-free. Your percentage drop isn't enough either. And while I fully agree that smoking is really bad, really bad, people should be well within their right to do whatever they want with their body. No government should legislate to control it. I really do believe that. The bill also reduces the amount of nicotine allowed in tobacco products. Their belief is that it will make them less addictive. The one thing that this bill does not cover is the one thing that's been on the rise since then: vaping. Vaping is very popular with young people. It's very popular with lots of people, in fact. So if you're going to remove smoking, you might find people will just go in that direction instead. And there are already issues being discussed with that anyway. Moving on from that, I have something I've dubbed the Muck Pig Rage, seen via Clown World, retweeted by your boy Pat, who said, so long as you let people act like that, they're gonna act like that. Here's the video.
That's wrong.
Oh my god.
Two crispy chicken sandwiches in?
No.
Nope.
I had 2 McChickens. I had 1 crispy chicken meal, 2 Big Macs,
Oh my god.
and 2 McDoubles with unlimited.
People that work within the service industry get plenty of flack as it is. Crap, in fact. All you had to do was show a little patience and kindness, a bit of respect, and the issue in turn could have been resolved quite peacefully, much like how the member of staff was treating you. Your frustration boiling over was unnecessary, especially over McDonald's of all food. If you, the ungrateful cowbag who did that in that video, see this video, hi, calm your tits and have a biscuit. Get it from McDonald's and they'll give you the wrong ones. You can rage pig all over that as well. Moving on from that, we're going to go to a tweet I saw via Hannah Clark that in turn took me down a small rabbit hole that goes all the way back to September of this year. From Wales, but have the English flag tattoo. You get no sympathy. As you can see in the first image, somebody likes their face tattoos. So let's go back to September so you get the context here. Melissa Sloan is a tattoo addict who gets 3 inkings a week and has shown how she looked before she got these beautiful designs on her face. Her devotion to her tattooing is so much that she carries around with her a tattoo gun everywhere. And since the age of 20, she has been getting body art done to her. Due to this though, she has encountered an issue, and it is an obvious one. She can't find a job. Speaking to the Daily Star, she explained that she had her first done at 20, so she's been doing it for about 20 years now. She had had her boyfriend's name tattooed to her, then had it taken off and just built up from there, and thought, why can't she go for a face and do her face? I can tell you why. It's also a reason why you're unemployed. People don't find others with tattoos on their face overly approachable. It doesn't look the most professional in the workplace. That's the reasoning usually given. I, of course, think if you are suited for the job, you of course should do the job. I take no issue with face paint, permanent face paint as well, in fact. However, small thing, I can't tell if yours are actually tattoos or just squiggles done with the gun to make you think you look like you've got art on it. So addicted you shaved off your eyebrows, you even shaved your head so you could tattoo your scalp. Your addiction has gone so far that you've even admitted you were forced to watch a child's nativity from a window. Much like the idiot with the gigantic eyebrows, this is again something entirely your fault, and one you should, I believe, seek help for. It's all well and good wanting art on your face, but you've admitted you're addicted to it. You've also claimed that your usual plan of going to a pub have been foiled because you've been barred from your local for your extreme inkings. Now, I do not believe that in the slightest. Surely they'd welcome you in with open arms. I'm not sure about this one. Let's go with that. And by the way, making you watch the nativity through a window, I kinda get when you look like you would eat a child. Children, after all, have vivid imaginations, and they might confuse you for a dragon. An English one as opposed to a Welsh one. How unfortunate. Do I need to pull out the when you fuck around you find out chart?